Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to the Rogers Kakasungura YouTube channel. It is a Wednesday when we are preparing for a game-changing maandamano. And of course, you know, this will be a historic week for Kenya. And things are happening on the ground. Now, ukiambiwa utashtuka. They arrested Babu Wino. Yes, there's no problem. William Ruto could say, our government will not weaponize the DCI. Kila mtu ni mwizi Kenya hii, ni nafasi ya hujapata ya kuiba ndugu yangu. Wacha kusema ati mwanasiasa fulani ni mwizi. Ni nafasi ya hujapata. William Ruto alikuwa anapiga Uhuru Kenyatta ati yeye ana weaponize DCI. Ni nafasi ya kumpata ya kuwa rais. He is now the president and you can see what he's doing. That is not why I'm here today. Kaka, I had warned you about some happenings in the Kenya Kwanza government. The ties between Kenya and the United States of America. I am not a prophet, but I always tell you, so many things I have spoken about, they have come to happen. And if you haven't seen, then you're blind. Those people follow me from the beginning. I told you there will come a time, even we have information in the media that the United States supported Kenya Kwanza in winning the presidency. Yes, we know something that is, it's not something that's private, it's in the public domain. Yes, the United States entirely supported William Samoei Ruto in winning the 2022 presidential election. Now, during the Uhuru Kenyatta's tenure, Uhuru Kenyatta had shifted his focus to the east. That is where he could make business ties. That is where he could do business with the east. Those are the countries he could borrow from. When Ruto became the president, he shifted his eyes from the east to the west. That is why you see the International Monetary Fund is supporting entirely the Kenya Kwanza government in terms of loans. Now, William Ruto aliwachana na Wachina. He stopped focusing on the east, mambo ya loans, mambo ya infrastructure, mambo ya development, mambo ya miradi, mambo ya contract, akawachana kabisa. So, akafunga chapter ya Uhuru Kenyatta. Akaamua sasa mimi wacha nienda Amerika. Hapo ndio nitapata mikopo, hao ndio watu nitafanya biashara na wao. Na nikawaambia njia ya muongo ni fupi. Njia mbili zilimshinda fisi. The problem with the Kenya Kwanza government, leo ako hapa, kesha amekanyaga hapa, kesho kutwa ako hapa mbele, another day ako hapa nyuma. So is a man who doesn't understand himself. When the president hosted the Iranian president in Kenya, I had made warnings. Na nikasema, this thing will affect Kenya in a big way in terms of business deals. Yes, of course, Kenya, we are independent. Kenya, we are independent, yes. But we are not that 100% independent. Why? We are not a developed country. We depend on developed countries like the US. Now, IMF had promised William Ruto support in loans. And as we speak, they have borrowed more than 1.2 trillion Kenyan shillings. Serikali iliyosema will not borrow. Now, what happened? Catherine Tai, or before I move to that, I want to give you a chronology of events, the happenings. Number one, as we speak right now, more than 50 lobby groups have petitioned Joe Biden, the president of the United States of America, to make sure that he is blocking further negotiations between the US and Kenya until William Ruto officially, publicly, in writing, declares his stand on LGBTQ. More than 50 lobby groups. As we speak, they are currently collecting 10,000 signatures to make sure that Joe Biden has completely blocked William Ruto from further negotiation, from further business negotiations between the United States of America and Kenya. That is event number one. Event number two. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw recently America is on Ruto's neck once again. Why am I saying this, Kaka? Catherine Tai a trade representative from the United States was in Kenya on Monday. And she came to co-chair a U.S. East Africa something developmental, something like, summit, something that's happening in Nairobi. Now, this lady, when she came on Monday, she had organized a meeting with, she was to have a meeting with Kenya for trade negotiations. And when you're meeting a country, you must meet the CS of that particular ministry. So, Tai was expected to meet Moses Kuria. When she landed in Kenya and she was told, listen, our CS for trade is Moses Kuria and his office is at Two Rivers. Catherine alisema, I will not meet a person who is threatening the life of individuals and institutions. Who is this individual? It's Raila Odinga. Why? Listen, whether you like it or not, the US is now shifting the focus from the government of the day to the opposition. Why? The leader they trusted is not the kind of leader they're physically seeing. Wamevalia ngozi ya kondoo. The Ruto they expected is not the William Ruto they are seeing now on the ground. Moses Kuria made a tweet recently and said, Raila Odinga will be dying on 19th, that is today, na azikwe. That's what he said. That tweet sparked reactions from Kenyans. Now, when Catherine Tai is saying, I will not meet a loose-mouthed CS, a person who threatens the life of other people. Who are these individuals Catherine Tai is referring to? Of course, it's Raila Odinga. That itself is a confirmation that the US is cutting ties with Kenya. Now, she was supposed to have a meeting. That meeting was cancelled, citing reservations. The reason being, Moses Kuria ni mtu anatapika. Whatever he spews sewage. Moses Kuria was supposed to attend that summit, that council was supposed to attend. Reliable sources, according to a story done by one of the national media houses, it indicates, in fact, Moses Kuria was locked out of that meeting. Aliambiwa, kijana, toka, tafadhali, toka. We do not host people who spew sewage. Alifika kwa mlango, akaambiwa, ndugu, go back home, ukuje na mzazi. That's what he was told. Alifungiwa nje. Akaambia jambazi, chokpara, toka tafadhali. We don't host criminals. USA doesn't host criminals. So Moses Kuria was chased away. Imagine, there's nobody advising this government. There's nobody advising Ruto that the adolescent boys around him, the juvenile boys, are sinking his government as the world is watching. I want to tell you without fear of contradiction, unless Zakayo decides to come down from a sycamore tree and meet Jesus, Kenya Kwanza government is sinking. It is sinking. Imagine a trade CS being whisked out of a meeting that is hosting envoys, a meeting that is hosting representatives from East Africa and the United States. You know how many East African countries we have? The only CS who is being chased away is one CS from Kenya. How does Kenya appear in the face of diplomats? Ladies and gentlemen, let's tuache siasa kwanza and let's focus on reality. I'm asking valid questions, ladies and gentlemen. How do diplomats view Kenya? A whole CS being chased away from a US East African business summit. Anafukuzwa, anafungiwa malango. Nobody is bold enough to tell Ruto, you are coming down. I want to petition these pastors who want to state us to pray, riba shankara, waliambiwa, imba kwa ndimi, takaza. I want to tell them, ndugu, go back, itana vile muri itana, just call yourselves, go back and address those issues amicably, or else the king is naked in front of nations. Nobody's advising him. The boys we have around Ruto are making decisions out of emotions, out of arrogance and pride. They do not make decisions out of reason. They just speak because of speaking. And I told Moses Kuria, listen to me very clearly. I want to give you this prophecy. You will sink before Raila sinks. Government eats its own children, and you will be the first child this government will slaughter and swallow. Get it from me. I will be here to remind you. Stop the pride, stop the nonsense, work for them. And by the way, Moses Kuria was ranked the worst performing CS. Kitu anajua ni ulevi tu na kutembea hapa na kupiga kelele. By the way, hiyo account yako, and by the way, Kenyans tafadhali, I have a lot of following. Tuende kwa Twitter. Kama uko na Twitter account, enda kwa Twitter and report Moses Kuria. Tunataka hiyo Twitter account ikuwe suspended. Enda Twitter. If you are on Twitter tafadhali, mwagika pale. Enda kwa hiyo post, report it. Mwingine a report. Leo peke yake tukireport hiyo post, ako ka account katafungwa. Tumwagike kwa account ya Moses Kuria ya Twitter. Tufunge hiyo kiosk. Kama uko Twitter tafadhali, listen to me. I'm giving you only 2 hours. Kama uko Twitter, enda kwa page ya Moses Kuria. Iko verified, utaiona. Iko na blue tick. Kwa hiyo page, tafuta ile tweet ambayo aliandika Raila na kufa leo. Report that tweet. Tukiripoti watu 20,000, hiyo kioski kitafungwa. Nataka by jioni nikifungua nipate kioski kishafungwa. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. See you in the next video. Asanteni sana. But then listen, as I finish, Ruto will get a tariff from the US. Na hata kuwa na mahali pa kukimbilia. Raila Odinga ako kwa neki ya Ruto. Wananchi wako kwa neki ya Ruto. Amerika ndio hiyo iko kwa neki ya Ruto. Sasa mahali atatorokea, mapastors pia wameanza kumgeuka, nimesikia wanamutuzi. Hii Kenya my friend itakuwa ndogo sana. Unasikiza my friend? God bless you. See you in the next video. Asanteni sana.